Greetings and good day, everyone. My name is Paul Dulong, and welcome to another episode of PNT Cinema Talk. Alright, so first up, the Weinstein Company has announced they are going to remake She's All That. I know it's the uncool thing to say, but I really liked the first one back in the 90s. I mean, I was kind of the same age as all the characters at that time. I graduated high school in the late 90s. I was the late 90s teenager. But for the purposes of a movie, I enjoyed it. And I fell in love with Rachel Lee Cook right away. I didn't even have to wait for her makeover transformation. I was a really big fan of hers back then, and she's not in too much anymore. But Rachel Lee Cook, back in those days, well, she really was all that, at least to me. And just because I was a fan of the original, certainly doesn't mean that I can't see a way that this might be interesting. Teenagers are certainly not the same now as they were back in the late 90s. It's just a different world now than it was back then. So I guess I can see the value of making a contemporary version of it. The story might go down a little differently. At least that's what I hope. Do you think that this is a waste of time? Do you think it could work? Is there a way that they could do this that might make you not hate it? Because that's the thing with remakes. A lot of people just shun them right away. But what if there's something new that can be brought to the story in a way to update it? Do you think this is a story that has any of that potential? Or do you think this is just a bad cash grab that's going to go horribly, horribly wrong? As always, I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. Alright, so in a bit of news that's sure to have me trembling under the covers is Warner Brothers has gone out and got themselves the movie rights for Five Nights at Freddy's. For those of you who don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game that is working very hard to traumatize the children of today. And even the adults, because it is kind of creepy. I was watching Boogie2988 stream it on Twitch once, and I could barely watch him play. There's definitely a lot of creepy cinematic moments to play with there. So as a movie, I definitely see the potential in it. I mean, the premise alone is just the stuff that nightmares are made of. It's crazy. So for those of you who don't know, the premise, it takes place in this really creepy pizza parlor called Freddy's Fazbear's Pizza. In the game, you play a security guard who gets locked inside, and he has to defeat some malfunctioning animatronic animal band characters, basically the whole night. Or over a series of nights, as the case may be. I didn't see what happened on night 2 because it creeped me out to the point where I was like, done. For those of you who've ever been to Chuck E. Cheese and see that weird robot animal band playing up on the stage, think that, only if they were psychotic and trying to kill you. As far as the video game is concerned, I can't really vouch for it one way or the other. I've seen it played, but haven't played it myself. But I definitely can see how this could be a potentially good movie. I mean, we really need better horror movies these days, because a lot of them haven't been that great. And this has potential. I mean, video game movies get a bad rap. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of good ones. There's a couple that I liked, but they're certainly not beloved by any means. Like, I liked the original Mortal Kombat. I liked most of the Resident Evil films. These are just popcorn flicks that I watch to waste time and get a kick out of. But we're still waiting for that one truly great video game film. I think it's going to be World of Warcraft or Assassin's Creed. It would be really nice to see Five Nights at Freddy's make a statement as well. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good move for Warner Brothers to turn this series of games into a movie? Is this a movie you'd want to see if you could? And should they make it in 3D? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so next up is a bit of news regarding the Gremlins Reboot. This is a movie I've been waiting to hear news on for quite a long time. Okay, so it looks like they have hired someone to write the movie. They hired someone by the name of Carl Ellsworth. He's definitely written a few movies that I'm interested in, like the upcoming Goosebumps for one, and as well as a few that I've seen which I really liked, such as Disturbia, Red Eye, and The Last House on the Left, the remake of it though, not the original. That isn't bad. I mean, he's got that creepy factor for sure, and if they're going to redo Gremlins, that's the one thing I want. You gotta make it scary, like the first one. Not a joke like the second one. But the second one still had its moments, I'll admit. The first Gremlins is very near and dear to me. That was the first movie I ever saw that I had to see again and again and again. When I was a kid, I watched that almost every day before school. So anyway, he's definitely got experience in horror. He wrote the Goosebumps movie, so that's definitely going to be creepy yet kid-friendly. So that's good for Gremlins. You want to be able to take the kids to Gremlins. It should only be PG or PG-13. For those of you worried that this is going to ruin your childhood, hold on. I understand the remakes get a bad name, but at the very least, I can at least tell you that two very important people from the first movie are back as producers, and that is the original writer of Chris Columbus and the original executive producer of Steven Spielberg. So as long as these two people are involved, maybe there's a chance it might not be bad. Because yeah, I don't know. Gremlins is a very personal one for me, I gotta tell you. I mean, like, that's the movie that made me want to learn more about movies. That movie did that for me. I know it traumatized a lot of kids back in the day, and I had my Gremlins nightmare just like every other kid. But the kids today are a little bit more desensitized, so I'm not sure it's going to be an issue. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a good writer to have writing Gremlins? Are you glad there are going to be more Gremlin movies to begin with? Do you think it would have been better just to make it a straight-up sequel as opposed to a reboot altogether? Let me know in the comments below. Disney has another cartoon movie that they want to turn into a live-action film, and the next one to get the go-ahead is Pinocchio. I gotta give Disney credit for going all in with all of their properties all at once. That seems kind of crazy. I find it a little odd that they're making all these announcements so close to each other. Is it possibly going to be like its own shared universe? Like, are they all going to be in the same world? I've heard nothing official on that. That's just speculation, but it's my speculation. Because they do that quite frequently on the TV show Once Upon a Time. And if they wanted to do like a cinematic version of that, only with with the Hollywood budgets, that might be interesting. But that's not what they're doing right now. Right now, it just seems to me that they're setting up all these characters. That's the only reason I'm speculating that maybe they're going to go shared universe. But, I could just be wrong. So what do you guys think? Are you happy that this movie's being made? Do you think Disney has lost their minds? Do you think that they're brilliant? Please let me know in the comments below. Alright, so before we get into the last topic, I just want to do some shameless promotion right here. I got to be involved in a video as Super Mario, along with a bunch of other cosplayers, for my friends over at DMAX Studios. I'll put the link to that video below as well. You will need to watch it on a computer. It does seem to have a problem playing on mobile devices. But if you click on that link, you'll get to see a bunch of cosplayers dancing to music, being goofballs, and yes, you will see me as Super Mario twerking. And if that gives you nightmares, call Warner Brothers, because I'd kind of like to be in Five Nights at Freddy's. Alright, that brings us to the last topic I'm going to talk about today, and that is Daniel Radcliffe, better known as Harry Potter, has signed on to be in the Grand Theft Auto movie. And not so fast. This Grand Theft Auto movie isn't actually based on the video game itself. However, it is based on the man behind the video game by the name of Sam Houser. It appears this movie is going to focus on a lot of the legal troubles that Houser had surrounding this game, especially from an activist attorney by the name of Jack Thompson. He really came after Houser hardcore for that, claiming he was glorifying violence and such, and that's an important topic, so I think there could be a value in seeing this movie being made. Part of me would rather have the Grand Theft Auto movie just based on the game, but, I understand that the issue of violence in video games might be something that could use a little bit of cinematic defense. I think this is a good move for him. I mean, this along with that Frankenstein movie he's got coming out, and I also believe he's going to be a villain in the Now You See Me 2, which I think is a great idea. Now bear in mind that the title of the film, Grand Theft Auto, is definitely a working title. It could be changed at any point in time. Its title was once also called Rockstar Games, which I think is a better title, because I would save the Grand Theft Auto title for the actual Grand Theft Auto movie if they ever make one. Regardless of what they call it, I think the story of Sam Houser is definitely going to be one worth watching. I mean, it's an interesting thing, and I'm all for movies that actually make you think as well. But that's my opinion. What's yours? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think making a movie about what went on behind the scenes of Grand Theft Auto is a better idea than actually making the Grand Theft Auto movie? And what do you think about Daniel Radcliffe taking on this type of role, where he actually has to defend horrific violence in a logical way? I think that could be interesting. Well, that'll just about do it for today. As always, my name is Paul Dulong, and I thank you so much for watching. And if you ever want to support this show, you never have to spend a dime on it. All you have to do, give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment. I got a long ways to go to get as good at this as I'd like to be, but, I gotta keep practicing or else it'll never happen. Until next time, you guys have yourselves a great day, and watch some movies.